Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Deep Dive Podcast. Hope you are doing well and taking good care of yourself. Let's move towards today's topic. I want you to close your eyes for a second. Just imagine you're standing near a riverbank.
Yeah.
It's the dead of night. The moon is totally hidden behind the clouds, so it is pitch black out there.
Right.
And the water is moving fast. You can hear the current rushing. Maybe the wind is picking up through the trees. And you are completely alone.
Or so you think.
Exactly. Because then, cutting right through the sound of the wind, you hear it. A woman crying.
And we aren't talking about,
It's a sob, but it is a sob that feels incredibly heavy. Like it's carrying 400 years of bad history in wet earth.
it's the acoustic signature of regret. That's really the only way I can describe it. It's a sound that implies a mistake that can never be fixed.
And the rule, if you grew up near the border or in the Southwest, or frankly, anywhere from Mexico City to Colorado, you know this rule.
Oh, absolutely.
It's practically written into the DNA of the region. If you hear it, the math has already turned against you.
It signifies a timeline running out. It means you are no longer the observer. You are the observed.
The phrase is always the same. It's choked out between these awful, heaving breaths. Mis hijos, mis hijos.
My children.
Yeah, just saying it into the microphone right now makes the hair on my arms stand up. It's so visceral.
Well, it should be. That phrase, especially in that specific weeping cadence, it triggers a fight-or-flight response in millions of people.
Yeah.
It's a cultural trigger. It's almost like a sonic weapon that instantly transports you to a dark riverbank.
Which brings us to today's topic. We are doing the deep dive on the entity known as La Llorona, the weeping woman.
And it's a heavy one.
It really is. It feels less like we're analyzing a story and more like we're poking a bruise.
That's a great way to put it, because La Llorona isn't just a monster of the week.
No.
If you treat her like Bigfoot
Right.
or the Loch Ness Monster, you miss the point entirely. She is a cultural scar.
Yeah, this isn't cryptozoology.
We are looking at a narrative about the weaponization of grief.
The weaponization of grief. I like that.
Yeah, we're looking at how a society processes the transformation of beauty into something monstrous through a very specific cocktail of betrayal and madness.
And that is exactly the mission for this hour. We are going to look past the standard warning of don't go near the river, though we will definitely get to those rules, and the actual science behind them.
The science of the sound is fascinating.
It's terrifying. But first, we need to dissect the tragedy itself. I really want to understand the psychology of the snap.
The breaking point.
Exactly. What happens to a human mind to make it do the absolute unthinkable?
It's a dark place to go.
It is, but we have to. And we need to understand the rules of this haunting. Because unlike a Victorian ghost just rattling chains in an attic somewhere, La Llorona operates with a very specific set of tactical rules.
Rules that, if you break them, tend to result in you being removed from the census.
Honestly, yeah. Okay, so let's get into the deep end. To understand the monster, we have to understand the woman she was before the white dress got wet.
Before she was a ghost, she was Maria.
Maria. And this wasn't just a generic once upon a time situation. This was a very specific social environment, right?
We have to go back to the beginning. And I don't mean the riverbank just yet. We need to look at the structure of Spanish colonial society.
Right, because the setting matters.
It dictates everything. The stories vary on the exact location. Sometimes it's a rural village in Mexico. Sometimes it's the more primitive Southwest. But the social hierarchy is the constant.
The system they lived under?
Yes, we need to talk about the sistema de castas.
The caste system.
Exactly. This wasn't just about who had more money in the bank. This was a rigid racial and social hierarchy enforced by the Spanish crown.
It was institutional.
Highly institutional. You had the Peninsulares, the Spaniards, actually born in Spain, sitting right at the top.
The elites.
Right. Then below them, the Criollos, the Mestizos, and so on down the line. Your entire station in life, your prospects, were dictated by your bloodline.
And in that hierarchy, Maria is usually described as being at the top of the local food chain, at least visually speaking. The descriptions of her are always totally over the top.
Visually, yes. Breathtaking, or they describe her as altering the gravity of a room.
Like she walks in and everything stops.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But we need to apply a sociological lens here, not just a romantic one.
Okay, let's do that.
In the colonial era, beauty wasn't just aesthetic for a woman in her position. It was currency. It was a literal survival mechanism.
Explain that a bit more, because we usually hear the phrase, she was the prettiest girl in town, as just a classic fairy tale trope, but you're saying it was purely economic.
Absolutely. Think about it. If Maria was from the village, she was likely mestiza, mixed race, or indigenous.
So she's near the bottom of that caste system you mentioned.
Right. Her ceiling was incredibly low. She couldn't just get a job, work hard, and rise through the ranks. That wasn't an option. So her beauty was the only asset she possessed that could possibly allow her to transcend her station.
It was her only way out.
Yes.
Mm.
The stories always emphasize that men traveled miles just to see her. That made her a commodity. She was the object of the gaze, and she knew it.
She knew her worth in that specific market.
She had to. So when the wealthy Spanish nobleman rolls into town, this isn't just a romance novel meet cute. This is a massive collision of social classes.
Right. He represents the ruling class. He has everything she doesn't.
He possesses the power, the wealth, and the whiteness that the society values above all else. He sees her, and he wants her.
And he usually gets what he wants.
Always. But notice the phrasing in the folklore. It's very telling. He falls in love with the sight of her.
The sight of her, wow. Not her personality.
Exactly. He captures the prize. It's an acquisition.
He sees a rare bird and he wants to put it in a cage.
Essentially, yes. They marry, and they have 2 children. 2 sons, usually. And the narrative always pauses right here to tell us that life was perfect.
But perfect is doing a lot of heavy lifting there.
A lot.
It feels like the calm before the storm, like we're just waiting for the other shoe to drop.
It is the calm before the storm. The perfect life in this context means she achieved the impossible. She married up.
She won the colonial lottery.
She did. She secured heirs for a wealthy man. She defied the gravity of the caste system. But the higher you climb on a ladder that wasn't actually built for you,
The harder the fall.
exactly, that perfection is incredibly fragile because it's built entirely on his whim.
Right, because she doesn't actually have any systemic power, she just has his favor.
Exactly. It's built on a surface-level admiration of her beauty. If that beauty fades, or if the social pressure from his peers becomes too much, the foundation cracks.
She's basically living on borrowed time in a world that doesn't actually accept her.
She is a guest in her own life.
That is so incredibly bleak. So let's talk about the crack. The betrayal here isn't a sudden, explosive event, is it? It's more like a slow-motion demolition.
It's excruciatingly slow. It's not just that he cheats on her, it's how he actively dismantles her.
It starts with distance, right? He travels more.
He travels more, he's home less, he's finding reasons to be away, but the psychological cruelty is really in the specifics of his behavior when he is around.
How so?
When he is home, he completely stops acknowledging Maria. He only plays with the children.
Man, that's brutal. It's like she's being erased in real time.
It is the deliberate erasure of her identity as a wife and a lover. She is being reduced to her biological utility.
She provided the heir, so her job is done.
Exactly. He looks right through her to get to the boys. He is signaling, without saying a word, that the children are his legacy and she was just the vessel.
Just an incubator.
Yes. And then comes the turning point, the public humiliation.
Right, this is the moment where the private pain at home becomes public shame in the village.
Maria's in town. And remember, this is her domain, the place where she used to be the absolute queen of the gays.
The place where men used to travel miles just to look at her.
Right. She's there, and she sees a carriage. Her husband is inside.
But he's not alone.
No. He's with a woman who is described very specifically in the lore. She is always younger, elegant, and from high society.
So he's trading beautiful for appropriate.
That is exactly it. He is correcting his social resume.
Wow.
He had his fun with the beautiful village girl, his little rebellion, but now He is securing a partner from his own stratum.
A Spanish woman?
A Spanish woman, someone who fits the castas requirement for a man of his stature and wealth.
And this is where the connection to Loma Lynch comes in, isn't it? I feel like we have to talk about that archetype.
It's completely unavoidable. You really cannot separate La Llorona from Loma Lynch.
For listeners who might not be familiar with Mexican history, Loma Lynch was the indigenous guide and lover of Hernán Cortés during the Spanish conquest.
Right. She bore his son, who is symbolically considered one of the first mestizos.
And then Cortés just cast her aside to marry a Spanish noblewoman.
Exactly. That mirrors Maria's story almost perfectly.
It really does. It's the exact same blueprint.
It's the DNA of the legend. That deep trauma the indigenous woman used and discarded by the European conqueror is baked right into the culture.
So Maria is basically reliving that massive national trauma on a personal level.
She is. She is the woman who gave everything to the invader and was left with absolutely nothing.
So when he leaves her, he's not just breaking up with her, he's reinforcing the whole colonial power dynamic. He's telling her, you were never really one of us.
Precisely. It's a systemic rejection, not just a romantic one.
Uh-huh.
And then he delivers the ultimate death blow.
Right.
He tells her he is leaving and he is taking the children.
He's taking the only thing she has left in the world.
Think about the total stripping of self here. She loses the husband.
Yeah.
She loses the status. She loses the financial security.
Loses her home.
Everything.
Yeah.
And now he is effectively saying, you are nothing. You don't exist anymore. I'm taking the future of my sons with me and I'm leaving you in the dust.
It's that total erasure that sets the stage for the madness. And I think we really have to call it madness. It's not just anger. It's a total psychological break.
A complete fracture of the psyche, which brings us to the river.
Yeah, the river.
And I want to pause here for a second because we need to handle this carefully. We are talking about filicide.
The killing of a child by a parent.
Yes. It is the ultimate taboo in human society. It goes against every single biological imperative we have evolved to possess.
So how do we explain it? How does a mother go from protecting her kids to doing this?
Psychologically, we have to look at something called the Medea complex.
Like from Greek mythology.
Exactly. It's based on the character Medea, who killed her own children to inflict pain on her husband Jason after he abandoned her for a princess.
So this isn't just a case of her going crazy and losing her mind randomly. There's a dark, twisted logic to it.
It's a logic of total, absolute warfare. In the moment of the snap, the children actually stop being her sons in her mind.
What do they become?
They become symbols. They are the living connection to him. They are his legacy. They are the thing he loves most in the world.
Because remember, he ignored her completely just to play with them.
Right. So to hurt him, to truly devastate a man who has all the power and wealth in the world.
She has to destroy the thing he values most.
Yes. It is the ultimate scorched earth tactic. If she can't have them, and if he is going to take them away to raise with this new perfect Spanish woman,
she removes them from the equation entirely.
she ensures nobody gets them.
That is terrifyingly calculated, even within the madness of the moment.
It is. The setting is so vital here to understand the horror. We really need to picture it.
Paint the picture for us.
It's evening. The sun has gone down. The traditional texts always describe the moon reflecting off the water. The air is cold.
And the current.
The current. This is so important. The current is incredibly strong. It's not a peaceful little babbling brook. It's a massive force of nature.
Maria is walking with her children along this bank. And inside her head, it's not a rational monologue anymore. She is just consumed by jealousy and rage. She's vibrating with it.
This is the moment of the snap.
Yeah.
And it is terrifying because of the distinction the story makes. In that exact moment, on that dark riverbank, the mother part of her brain completely shuts off.
It just goes dark.
Yes. She is purely the scorned woman.
Yeah.
She looks at those two children, and she doesn't see her babies. She sees him.
She sees the husband.
She sees the man who destroyed her life. She sees his eyes and their little faces.
And in that blind red fog, she does it. She pushes them.
She pushes her own children into the freezing river.
The sensory details and the historical accounts and the folklore are what really stick with me. It's not just the splash of them hitting the water, it's the reaching.
The tiny hands reaching out of the dark water, reaching for safety, reaching for their mother.
The one person who is supposed to protect them from the monsters in the dark.
And she just stands there on the bank and watches them struggle.
The water swallows them. And then comes the most terrifying sound of all.
The silence.
Yes, the silence, the sudden absolute silence that follows the splashing and the screaming.
That silence is the major transition point of the entire legend. That is the exact moment the rage evaporates.
Because you can't sustain that level of rage.
Right. No, rage is a high energy state.
Yeah.
You cannot maintain it forever. The adrenaline crash hits her like a freight train. And what replaces that rage is the crushing, undeniable reality of what she has just done.
The narrative says she returns to reality almost instantly. It's like waking up from a horrible nightmare only to realize you actually created the nightmare in the waking world.
It's the ultimate horror.
She runs into the river, she's fully dressed, clawing at the water, screaming their names. But the current, that strong current we mentioned earlier, it's too fast.
It is already too late. The river has taken them away. And this begins the immediate aftermath.
She doesn't just go home and pretend it didn't happen.
No, she destroys herself. She wanders those muddy riverbanks for days. She stops eating entirely. She stops sleeping.
She is just walking and crying.
The physical deterioration perfectly mirrors her mental collapse. She is literally dying of grief.
And eventually she is found dead near the water. Her body just gives out. Now, in a normal tragedy, death is the end of the line. The curtain falls, the audience cries, and we all go home.
But here, death is just the inciting incident for the true horror. Death is where the story of La Llorona actually begins.
Right. Because now we move from the human tragedy of Maria to the supernatural horror of La Llorona. We have to talk about the judgment.
This is the deep theological component of the folklore. Maria dies, and she attempts to enter the afterlife. She stands before the gates of heaven.
And she's asked one question, a question she absolutely cannot answer.
Where are your children?
It gives me chills just thinking about it.
Or specifically, how can you enter without them? It is the ultimate bureaucratic and spiritual nightmare. She cannot enter heaven without the souls she was entrusted with on earth.
She threw away her ticket.
Exactly, so she is sent back.
But it's a very specific punishment. It's a Sisyphean punishment. She's condemned to walk the earth forever, but not just anywhere. She is restricted to searching near rivers.
She is condemned to search for eternity for the very children she herself destroyed.
It's a closed loop of torture. She can never find them because she is the reason they are gone. There's no resolution possible.
Precisely. And this is where the evolution happens. Over the decades and centuries of wandering the banks in the dark, she stops being Maria, the tragic victim of a bad marriage.
She loses her humanity.
She creates a callus. She becomes La Llorona, the predator. Her mission is still to search for her children, but her mind is so fractured from centuries of grief that she cannot distinguish anymore.
And this is the threat to the listener. This is where she becomes dangerous to us. She steals living children.
She mistakes them for her own in the dark.
Or maybe she simply wants to fill the void.
Or even darker. And this is the theory that terrifies me most. She wants other mothers to feel the unimaginable pain she feels. She wants to share the misery.
That is so deeply unsettling. So we have the origin, we have the monster. Now let's talk about what this looks like today, because this isn't a story that just stayed in the 1700s and faded away. It traveled.
It traveled extensively and aggressively. We have credible reports of sightings across Texas, Arizona, New Mexico, and all up and down California.
The geographic spread is massive. But the environment is always consistent. It's always near water.
Rivers, lakes, creeks, even large irrigation canals.
If there's a body of water and a moon, she's potentially there. And the visual identification is surprisingly consistent across hundreds of years of reports. Witnesses all describe the exact same things.
The iconography is incredibly stable. Long black hair. That is an absolute staple.
And it usually covers her face, right? Which just adds to the fear of the unknown. You can't see her eyes. You don't know what she's looking at.
Exactly. A pale, almost luminescent, deathly complexion. And of course, the soaked white dress.
The white dress. It's classic ghost imagery, but here it's specifically wet. It's heavy with the river water, it's dragging in the mud, clinging to her.
It roots her to the river.
Right. But the visual isn't actually the scariest part to me. If I see a scary lady in a wet dress, I can just run away. The scariest part is the auditory rule.
The distance paradox.
Yes. This is the twist that messes with my head every time I read about it.
And this is where we really need to talk about the science of sound. Because La Llorona seems to be hacking our actual biology.
Break that down for us, because this is the thing that makes sure you can't even trust your own ears if you're out in the woods.
The rule is very simple, but completely counterintuitive. If her cry sounds far away, like a faint sobbing way off in the distance, she's actually right next to you,
Like immediately behind you.
breathing on your neck.
And if it sounds close,
If the scream sounds like it's blowing out your eardrums, if it sounds like she is screaming right in your face, she is actually far away down the river.
why is this so insanely effective at inducing panic? Aside from the fact that it's just objectively creepy.
Because it weaponizes your biology against you. Humans use something called interaural time difference to locate the source of a sound.
How does that work?
Our brains calculate the tiny fraction of a second difference between when a sound hits our left ear versus our right ear. And through evolution, we are hardwired to equate loudness with proximity. Loud equals close. Quiet equals safe.
That's just survival 101. If a twig snaps really loudly, the tiger is close. Run. If it's quiet, the tiger is far away. Relax.
Exactly. La Llorona completely inverts the physics of that survival instinct. She creates cognitive dissonance.
So you hear a faint sob, and your logical evolved brain says, oh, that's miles away. I'm safe. I don't need to run.
You lower your guard entirely. You might even lean in or step closer to the dark edge of the water just to hear it better.
And that is exactly when she takes you.
It's a highly evolved ambush predator tactic.
That is just terrifying. It's psychological warfare. It baits you into feeling this false sense of security right before the end.
It suggests an intelligence. It suggests that she isn't just a mindless weeping ghost. She knows exactly how we hunt, and she knows how we hide.
And speaking of hiding, or not being able to hide, we have to talk about modern encounters, specifically the 2019 Texas case.
Yes. The footage.
This was a really big deal online. It took the legend out of the realm of the campfire and put it right onto our screens.
It did. It brought the legend directly into the digital age. This wasn't just a spooky story told by a grandmother to keep kids inside. It was captured objectively on security footage.
So set the scene for us. It's a family in Texas. It's 3 a.m., the classic witching hour.
Right. Their security camera, one of those standard motion-activated game cameras or a home security setup, picks up motion near the creek that borders their property.
Just a normal night.
The footage starts rolling and it shows a woman walking near the water. But there are anomalies, things that completely defy logical explanation.
Things that shouldn't happen on a grainy nest cam. What kind of anomalies?
First, no footprints.
Wait, really?
Yes. The ground was incredibly muddy, being right next to a creek after a rain. Any normal person walking there would sink in. Yet when they checked the next day, she left absolutely no physical trace.
That's crazy.
Second, and this is a classic vampire trope, but seeing it applied to digital optics is wild. There was no reflection.
Ugh.
There were puddles and reflective surfaces all along the creek bank. You could clearly see the trees and the moon reflecting in the water on the camera. But when she walked past those puddles, she cast no reflection at all.
That is deeply chilling. It's like the camera caught something that wasn't fully in our dimension.
And finally, the audio.
Mm.
The microphone on the camera picked up a faint, heaving sobbing.
The sobbing.
The exact sobbing we've been talking about.
So the police were called, right? This wasn't just immediately posted to a Reddit thread. The family was actually scared.
They were terrified. The police were called, they came out, they searched the entire area with flashlights. They found absolutely nothing. No woman, no signs of a struggle or a disturbance. Just the very real, very unexplainable footage.
And of course, once it got out, it went massively viral because seeing is believing, or at least in our current culture. Seeing is retweeting.
It reinforces the fact that this legend is alive.
Yeah.
It's adaptable. It survives perfectly fine in the age of the iPhone.
It really proves that the fear is still potent. Which brings us to a really important question as we look at all of this. What is the actual purpose of this fear? Why do we keep telling this story?
Right. Is she just a spooky bedtime story, or is there a deeper sociological function here?
Yeah, what's the utility of La Llorona?
Well, in Hispanic communities, there is undeniably a very practical function. It's a highly effective parental warning system.
Don't go near the river at night. La Llorona will take you.
Exactly. It's the ultimate stranger danger warning, but with a supernatural bite. Rivers are incredibly dangerous for children. Currents are deceptive, so it keeps kids from drowning. It's a literal lifesaver dressed up as a monster.
It creates an invisible boundary that children are too terrified to cross. That makes perfect sense. But I think if we look deeper at the lore, she is also a manifestation of something way more complex.
I agree completely. She is a symbol of motherhood, completely twisted by rage.
That's such a heavy concept. Motherhood is almost universally painted as this pure, selfless, protective thing. La Llorona is the total inversion of that.
She is the shadow side of the archetype. She represents the terrifying idea that grief and guilt can be strong enough to anchor a human spirit to the earth. She is a symbol of consequences that echo far beyond death.
You cannot escape what you've done.
Never.
She is basically the embodiment of the thought, I made a mistake that I can never ever fix. And that is a flavor of horror that resonates with everyone, whether you're a parent or not.
We all have regrets.
Exactly. She's regret with a capital R, just endlessly walking the earth.
Precisely.
Okay, we are nearing the end of our deep dive here today, but before we let you go, we need to do a final survival check.
Oh.
If you, the listener, find yourself near a river tonight, maybe you're camping, maybe you're just taking a late night walk along a canal, and you hear that sound.
The sobbing.
The sobbing. What do? What are the hard and fast rules?
Rule number 1 is simple but hard to follow. Do not look for her. Human curiosity is fatal in this scenario.
You want to look, but you can't.
Do not try to investigate the sound. Do not pull out your phone to record it. Do not try to be a hero.
Got it. Rule number 2.
Do not answer her.
Even if she sounds like she's in pain?
Especially then. Do not call out into the dark. Do not ask if she needs help. Because she does not want your help. She wants something else entirely.
And rule number 3.
Do not follow the sound. Especially if it sounds faint.
Because of the paradox.
Remember the paradox.
Yeah.
If it sounds like she is miles away down the bank, she is already breathing down your neck. If you step toward the sound, you are stepping right into her arms.
Because if you follow it, you're basically just walking right into the freezing water.
And that leads us to the most unsettling thought of all to leave you with today. We talk constantly about her searching for her children. We talk about her immense grief. But we really have to remember her motivation at this point in the timeline.
What is that?
She isn't actually looking for her children anymore. Not really. She knows they are gone. She knows she pushed them in. She isn't looking for ghosts.
She's looking for flesh and blood replacements.
She might be looking for yours.
Is it just a story? Or does something truly walk the riverbanks when the moon is out? That is the question we leave you to mull over tonight.
Stay away from the water at night.
And keep listening. We'll see you on the next deep dive.
Stay happy, stay safe, comment your views down below, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel.